to hear you, Ginger, Geordie, Geek. Please do hit that like and subscribe button. What we've got for you here is a quick rundown of some of the comic books I've been reading over the last week or so. Now, this is clipped from a live show I've done recently where we talked about the comic books, but also we talked about vintage action figures, books that I've not read yet, and recent pickups. So if you want to watch the full show, please go check that out. But if you're just interested in quick comic book reviews, this is the place to be. Enjoy! Going to start off with some Marvel, majority of which is shite. We're then going to talk DC, which is good, and then some variable independents from Image and Mad Cave and various other companies. So let's start off with some Marvel books. So currently, the Marvel Mutantverse has got this kind of crossover event, the Age of Revelation, which is set 10 years in the future of the current timeline. A bit like when they did Age of Apocalypse, there are hundreds of different crossovers. It's spilled into lots of different books. There's a couple of main titles, and then there are kind of the spin-offs, as it were. I'm trying very hard to read everything and at least flick through most things. On Friday's show on Rusty Staples, we talked about the Undead Deadpool. I quite enjoyed that. But these ones today, not so sure. We've got Expatriate X-Men. Now, I think the problem with these big crossover events, and probably my understanding of them, is I've not read the regular X books for a long time. So this Expatriate X-Men is full of characters I haven't got a Scooby-Doo about. I don't recognise the vast majority of them, other than Mystique and Colossus. And also Miss Marvel, who now, for whatever reason, is kind of wedded to the X-Men universe. She's become a fully fledged X-Men. This is an interesting book. This is basically a heist book where they're trying to save someone from a prisoner camp. And the kind of the twist here is that one of the characters, the one in the red helmet there, can twist time. So every time they fail, they jump back in time and have another go at the mission. It's a bit like that Tom Cruise movie. Was it Days of Tomorrow or Tomorrow's Edge or something? So they kind of do that for the entirety of the comic. And you see them ballsing it up, basically. A possum gets in the way at one point, don't know why. And the character that they're trying to rescue dies, and then they jump back and save him and all that kind of stuff. At the end, there's a bit of hoo-ha where one of the main characters looks like they're doing something nefarious, and we're not quite sure what yet. So, Miss Marvel, not a character that I particularly am drawn to. Would I read on with this one? No, probably not. I'm glad I gave it a little try, but it's not a one I'll read on, I'm afraid to say. We've then got X-Vengers. Now, this one appealed more because straight away I'm drawn to one of my favourite all-time X characters, good old Sam, Cannonball on the front there. This is basically, again, set in this X universe 10 years on, where some of the human characters, so some of the Avengers, have been mutated. So you can see there Shang-Chi is kind of a zombie type thing, I guess. Hawkeye has now got 4 arms. And poor old giant man, I think it's Hank Pym. I'm not sure if it's Hank or Scott in this, to be honest. But anyway, he's become this kind of weird thing that when he grows or shrinks, his body's dysmorphed all over the place. So he's screwed his powers up a little bit. Vision has got one of the technoviruses on him. You'll know technoviruses from things like Warlock from the New Mutants and stuff like that. This book was more interesting. I enjoyed the artwork in this. This starts off with basically them going to like an Avengers Memorial Day kind of thing, and they get a lot of abuse from the humans who are saying you're meant to be the Avengers, you're meant to save it, and they haven't. And then we suddenly get stuck into the middle of an invasion of the Kree attacking them. And it's, I don't know. It was all right. It was all right. This is really interesting to me, these two books. So on Rusty Staples on Friday, me and Andy talked a lot about some of the quality comic books that are out at the moment, like Escape and things like that from independent publishers. This is really the other side of the coin. This is Marvel doing what Marvel did 20 years ago, kind of by the numbers books for me. Now, that's not to say that there's not enjoyment in these books for people. Just for me, I'm not that drawn into these two particular issues. I'll probably pick up X-Vengers just because it's got some characters I enjoy in them, but I certainly don't think I'll be going back to Expatriate. X-Men. Sticking with the X theme, we've got 2 more books. We've got Omega Kids and Laura Kinney Sabertooth. I'm going to start with Sabertooth. This is issue number 2 of that run. Laura has basically set our son into the care of Honey Badger, I believe she's called, and Dakin, Wolverine's son, and she's asked them to basically get her son off Earth and to the moon where mutants are hiding with Apocalypse. That's what happened in issue 1. In issue 2, the main bad guy in the series, which is Doug Ramsey, who's got a bit like the preacher power, the voice of God, as it were. Whatever he says, you've got to do. So in this issue, he tells Laura that she's got to stop her son from a kid from escaping. So brainwashes her basically to go and undo what she did in issue 1. I didn't like this one at all, I have to say. Didn't like this one at all. I thought the art was naff and the dialogue was naff. Just didn't float my boat at all. Not particularly interested in these 2 characters, to be fair. So yeah, I'll not be reading on with the Laura Kinney one, which is good because it means I've culled the herd of the hundreds of books in some regards. Omega Kids. Now, this has got Quentin Quire, who's from the X-Men, the telepath young lad, who's grown up now, 10 years in the future. I loved this book. This book really surprised us. Again, the 4 characters in the front there, apart from Quentin, I don't know if I'm meant to know who these guys are. I don't recognise any of the names, but they've all got variable abilities in terms of telepathic powers or psionic abilities. Basically, what they're doing is trying to stop crime, stop terrorism before it occurs. So you've got this young lady who's trying to assassinate, get rid of the Doug Ramsey character, and she basically tells you the story of how she's going to do that, and you get to the point where she's about to assassinate him, and then it all goes awry. And you find out that basically it's all been a mental projection, and these guys are killing the people before they actually follow through with what they're meant to do. There's a great twist at the end where, again, all things are not as we seem. This was just pretty cool. I liked it. I liked the artwork. I liked the characters. It was intriguing. And the last page, which kind of reveals a bit of a shock, really got us interested. So I will without doubt be reading on in this one. Rounding up the Age of Revelation X-Men books, we've got one of the main titles really, which is Amazing X-Men. This is friggin' great. I'm loving this series. This is probably the line to read, guys, if you want to dabble in the X-Men. This is the book that's got Cyclops and the Beast, who've been time shunted from our time up into 10 years into the future. This particular issue has got a really cool battle with the Dark Child, who used to be Magic, where Cyclops and her have got to face off basically and wound each other with truths. And that plays out really interestingly. It's a good little back and forth that I really enjoyed. Artwork on this is spectacular. I'm really enjoying this particular title. I'd recommend, if you're going to read anything from this Age of Revelation multi-event, check out The Amazing X-Men. That's probably the best book by far so far for me, I believe. Wow. Ye gods. Spirits of Violence. This is a Marvel book picking up from a lot of the recent Ghost Rider tales, which I have to say I've kind of lost a little bit of traction with. I'm confused with them. The Spirit of Violence is another kind of spirit demon creature that's going around causing mayhem, and in this book the Spirits of Vengeance, which is all the various Ghost Riders and all those kind of characters, are going to team up basically to fight off this Spirit of Violence. Yeah, it was cack, really cack. I mean, like really cack. Artwork wasn't for me at all. It introduced a whole team of bad guys, as you can see there. The story was just awful. The writing was awful. Like I say, this might be for you, but absolutely wasn't for me. And the thing that irritated us a little bit about this, and I've said this before, it's a bit like Venom and some of those other characters. It feels like everybody's a bloody Ghost Rider now. So much so that on the second or third page, you have to get this character here explaining all the different spirits of vengeance that are knocking around in the Marvel Universe and who presumably are all going to pop up in this book. And there's like 7 of them or something. And it's like, does that make Ghost Rider unique anymore? It all just blends into one. There's a couple of pages for me where you've got 2 versions of Ghost Rider on the same page. Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch. And I can't tell who's who. I haven't got a clue which one's which. They're all looking the same. They're all banging into things. And yeah, it was dog shit. Dog shit for me, this one. Personally, wouldn't recommend that one at all. Then we've got Imperial by Jonathan Hickman. This is issue 4. This is the conclusion of the miniseries, which is supposed to restart the kind of the cosmic universe in the Marvel Universe. Really enjoyed the first couple of issues. Artwork has been really quite nice. This issue dropped the ball a little bit. I'm conscious I'm sounding like a right miserable old git. This one dropped the ball a little bit for me. The artwork became quite... It's big battle scenes, basically. But it became quite disjointed. Like, I couldn't quite figure out what was happening and who was going on. Like, there's one bit where two of the Ronins, so the guys in the green with the hammers there, well, one guy and one lady, attack the Super Skrull. And on one page, the Super Skrull uses his Human Torch powers and literally sets her on fire. And you say a scream in agony and kind of fly backwards. And then literally the next panel, she's standing totally unharmed, fighting them still. It was like, I don't understand what's happening here. Have I missed a page? Has another character jumped in from off panel or something? It just didn't seem to flow very well. The conclusion of this miniseries doesn't live up to the first 2 issues, in my humble opinion. It has reset, shall we say, the cosmic universe. We're now back to a kind of a cohesive cosmic pantheon of the Kree and the Skrulls and the Inhumans, Black Bolt, and all that kind of stuff. And from this series, we're getting spin-offs of Nova, which I'm always pleased to see because I love me a bit of Nova. And we're getting Planet She-Hulk and Imperial, I believe, and some other things, Imperial Gods or something, I think, and a whole host of other books. So, for me, slight disappointment to the end of the series. But overall, it's been a decent little read. And if it sets up the cosmic universe again, I'm happy with that. Sticking with Marvel, we've got Alien versus Captain America set during World War II. This tells the story of basically Hydra working for Baron von Strucker, trying to find a weapon to give to the Red Skull so he can win World War II. And you get this narrative of them the heading to the home of the Inhumans. This is out of continuity, I believe. But they head to the home of the Inhumans, and they find that all the Inhumans are being wiped out, basically. All the Inhumans have been killed. And in a locked kind of chamber, you've got all of these face huggers. Face huggers escape, obviously, and Baron von Strucker captures them and takes them to the Red Skull, who starts farming them. And you've got basically aliens all over World War II. This was cracking. Really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was a great little read. I've enjoyed the artwork in it a lot. It looks really, really cool. Yeah, I'm loving this kind of out of continuity Alien Predator stuff. So yeah, really like this one. Out of all the Marvel books we've talked about so far, this is probably the one I would recommend picking up the most. Some good action in it. And you can't beat a bit of World War II action, can you? I thought I would give the Avengers a bit of a go. Haven't read an issue of Avengers for yonks, so I thought I would pick up this issue. I'm completely out of touch with it, so didn't really understand what was going on. But overall, this was a good, solid little issue. This introduced some new bad guys at the end who I believe have been around before, but I'm not that familiar with them. It's all about Kang the Conqueror kind of trying to restart the entire universe, so he's got a bit of a challenge because he feels he's too good. Basically, he's beaten everything and everyone, so he wants to restart the universe and have a new challenge as such. Hyperion has now joined the Avengers, which is a character I've always enjoyed. I enjoy reading Hyperion. So yeah, this was cool. This was good. The artwork was nice. I'll probably read on, I think. I'll probably pick up another issue of this because I enjoyed the characters in it. Then we've got this. This is The Mortal Thor by Al Ewan, issue number 3. I was adamant I wasn't going to read this. I said this was cack. I just couldn't see this really doing it for me. But I thought I would give the first issue a go, and I'm hooked. I'm really enjoying this. So basically, Thor has been reborn on Earth. He doesn't have, I don't believe, his powers and things like that. He's not a god anymore. But he's basically working on a construction site. He's tied a hammer to a chunk of elastic, and he's swinging it around and killing all these set bad guys. It's incredibly graphic. Far more graphic than I expected. There's blood and guts all over the place, as you can see there. Skulls getting smashed, brains flying. First time I've enjoyed a Thor comic in a long time, I have to say. Really, really enjoying that one. I think that's pretty cool. It's worth picking up, even if you're not a big Thor fan. It's just an interesting book. Spider-Man. Yeah. People were telling us Amazing Spider-Man is worth a read. I didn't believe them. I picked up the last issue and wasn't overly blown away by it, but I thought I'd give this one a go as well. Spider-Man's in space. Don't know why. It says at the front he was punched into space. And he's got a kind of a costume made up of techno thingy, the warlock type characters. This was weird. Not your typical Spider-Man kind of comic book. It was fun, I guess. Marvel kind of standard stuff. You know, the artwork was nice. I quite like the techno-organic suit he's got on. That was quite interesting. Not one I'm going to read on with, though. I don't think I'll bother reading on. Unless somebody tells us that it's absolutely amazing in the future. This didn't do enough, really, to intrigue us. Then let's talk Batman. This book has gone through the roof on eBay. You can get this, or you can sell this for a canny little profit at the moment. This is Absolute Batman Annual number 1. The big pull here is the main story is written and art by Daniel Warren Johnson. It is absolutely your typical Daniel Warren Johnson art style. There's wrestling moves in there. Everything's huge. I know Absolute Batman's huge anyway. And all kinds of stuff like that. This is a story basically of Batman. It makes no sense. Just starting off there, it makes no sense. And I can't work out where in continuity this is. But anyway, Batman pops to the countryside as Bruce Wayne with no disguise or anything to buy a load of guns and weapons from some kind of yokel kind of bloke. As he's going through, driving through, he spots a kind of an encampment of people who've been displaced, and he basically walks into a load of racists who've decided they're going to get rid of this encampment kind of thing. So Batman does his Batman thing. You'll have seen that very prominent image going around Instagram of him breaking someone's arm who's doing a Nazi salute. Yeah, it's an interesting first kind of tale. It's typical Daniel Warren Johnson. Absolutely get the narrative of what they're trying to say in this. Very applicable for today's world, I think. I didn't have that much fun with it, I have to be honest. It was all right. It was okay, but it didn't blow us away. Whereas the second tale in the book here, which is about these Black Skull kind of guys breaking into a house, and one of the people who's doing the break-in is basically the son of the guy who owns the house. I really enjoyed that one. I thought the art style was much better. I thought the conclusion was nice and quite heartfelt, of the dad basically knowing that his son's doing him wrong but still sacrificing himself for his son. I thought that was quite nice. So I enjoyed that tale. The last tale, haven't got a freaking clue what it's about. So there's been lots of stuff online of people saying, oh, did you understand what the message was? Nah, did I shite? Haven't got a clue. It's 2 or 3 pages talking about bats and how bats don't like to be alone or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to realise that one of the characters that's in it is going to be Robin or something like that. I just didn't know. It didn't make any sense to me. So yeah. So I can't quite understand why this book has gone through the roof. Can't quite understand why people are clamouring for it. It's okay. The second tale for me is the better of the 3. And then we've got Knightfight. This is part of the DC Lockout event. In DC Knockout issue number 1, the Joker harpoons Batman and he dies, but he doesn't. He gets better. So Batman has basically set himself up with some boom tube technology, which when he died, teleported his body out of his body, heals him. So I didn't know. It didn't make any sense. I don't know. So he died, but he didn't die anyway. Just go with it. So he teleports himself into the future. And in this future, basically, Batman is popping himself in the Lazarus pit because he can't stand the thought of his never-ending battle ending. So he's pushed himself forward. This issue picks up with basically the Batman of that time period, which is Dick Grayson, facing off with him. He's very, very angry. He calls him the Batman who's fallen or something like that. And they get into a fight, a fisticuffs, and at the end it's revealed that Batman has killed all of the other Robins because they were trying to take over from him and he couldn't stand it. This was okay. The artwork is stunning. Love the artwork. Interesting little premise. I'll read on, but it ain't going to blow you away, I don't think. And again, I think you've got to go into this with a very open mind because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The draw here is the artwork, I have to say. And I did really enjoy, before we get into that kind of stuff, I did really enjoy the first few pages, which are Batman in kind of our timeline before Knockout, turning up to a crime scene. And on his way there, he's talking about how his body lets him down a little bit because he's getting on. And when he gets to the crime scene, that's that panel there. All of the Robins and all of his family are there. I always like it when they don't paint Batman as a dick. I like the fact that, you know, he's created a family around him who've changed his personality a bit. I'd much rather read that than your Frank Miller kind of almost abusive Batman. So yeah, this is worth a read, but it's not going to change your life, I don't think. If you've not been reading this, it's a really interesting concept for a comic book. Basically, all of the action and the monster and the creature and stuff happens outside of the book. We don't get to see it. So it's called Sleep because each issue starts when he's woken up and sees the aftermath of what's happened the night before, and each issue ends where he goes to sleep. So the premise is that this character's turning into some kind of creature, some kind of monster when he's asleep. And we're not seeing the panels of what it's doing. What we're just seeing in the comic is the aftermath, the destruction. It's been really, really good. This is a one I will definitely be buying as a trade paperback. I think it's only 8 issues or something like that. I think this is a cracking little read. I'm still confused though. I'm issue 6 in. I'm not really sure what's going on. The end of this is even more confusing because after the book ends, you get an extra little couple of pages, which is a time jump into the future where he's in an asylum. So yeah, it's just very intriguing. The artwork is beautiful. It's got this really interesting use of colours with really only the reds being shown on the page. So yeah, really enjoying that one. I think that's very cool. This is got to be contender of Book of the Year for me. This is Assorted Crisis Events. I know my pal Efren, Passpoint Comics, mentioned the other day that he struggled with this. I absolutely love this series. I think this is one of the best things going. This issue, again, absolutely knocks my socks off. The premise of this entire series is that time is broken. So time's gone haywire. So each issue's talking about some different effect of that. This issue is basically about a lady who's living with a husband, and he's got retrograde temporal diminishment, which basically means he can just jump. His entire body, his entire personality just shifts constantly. So 1 minute she's talking to her husband, who's 40, 50-year-old. The next minute he's a 6-year-old kid. The next minute he's a 90-year-old old man, and just constantly flicking like that. And it's a comic book, it's sci-fi and all the rest of it. But what I took away from it is it's kind of very much got parallels with living with someone with dementia or Lewy bodies or something along those lines. And it's heartbreaking. It is quite heartbreaking. This is absolutely a book to read if you want something that's a little bit more you know, thought-provoking than your Marvel stuff we've been talking about earlier on. This is a book you've got to sit and really kind of pore over. I can't think, we're issue 6 now, I can't think of an issue of this that I've not loved. So if you're not on assorted crisis events and you like the kind of book that makes you think, absolutely recommend you go check this out. Absolutely go recommend you check this out. It's great. It's great. Anybody reading this in the chat? I know these are just doing jokes, but anybody reading this in the chat? Because I think this is a cracking story. Then we've got The Phantom by Mad Cave, Phantom issue number 2. I have not read a lot of Phantom stuff at all. I've seen the movie, and I've obviously been familiar with the character from the Defenders of the Earth cartoon. Picked this up because I like the cover artwork, to be perfectly honest, and I just wanted to give it a go. This is brilliant. I'm really enjoying this. I don't really know masses about the Phantom. I don't know if he's super powered or not. I don't think he is from this book, but he strikes us as more of a kind of a Batman than Batman is in some regards. There's some great pages on this where basically he's just outthinking people. Like that page I've put up there is literally him just kind of planning out and working out how he's going to take down the bad guys without doing anything really. Working out, you know, what the guy's drinking and that he's dehydrating him and things like that. That one guy's got a weak wrist and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, beautiful artwork, great storytelling, one I absolutely recommend picking up as well. Then we've got this from Mad Cave, It Killed Everyone But Me, issue number 2. Loving this one as well. This is horror, kind of screwed up monsters and things like that. Basically, this creature has been released and killed all of this group of friends apart from one young lady, and then in the future a similar creature comes back, so she's got to kind of engage with and talk to the creature that originally killed everybody. It's really interesting. The artwork is stunning. I'm thoroughly enjoying the story. It's got kind of TV miniseries written all over it. This, I think this could be a cracking little show. So yeah, this is another good one. It Killed Everyone But Me. And then we've got Supernatural from Dynamite Comics. This is picking up after the TV series Supernatural. I've never watched an episode of Supernatural, so I went into this blind, but a lot of my mates say that it's an amazing TV series. It was alright. This was kind of monster of the week fodder kind of stuff. The banter between the two brothers I quite liked. The artwork inside was okay. Wasn't amazing, but it was okay. It felt very X-Files-y kind of thing. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I'll probably pick up the next issue just to see if it maintains this kind of quality of the storytelling, and see where we'll go from there. I didn't get any massive kind of revelation of us suddenly thinking, oh my god, I love this series. It was just okay. It was just okay. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope it's given you some things to think about in terms of what you might pick up to read over the next few weeks. Please do hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification. But for now, that's your whack. We'll catch you next time. Take care.